From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 1982, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, October 28, 2015. Typhoon Kopu slammed the northern Philippines the weekend of October 18th, and by the time it was downgraded to a tropical storm last Monday, it had already left its deadly imprint. Torrential downpours and landslides led to dozens of deaths and tens of thousands of evacuations. But disaster response from radio amateurs was just as rapid, and the National Telecommunications Commission worked with the Philippine Amateur Radio Association to meet the challenge. Hams mobilized to keep tabs on all affected areas and relay information as needed. The Philippine Amateurs Ham Emergency Radio Operator Network, or HERO, focused special attention on the eastern side of Luzon, the main island battered by the Category 4 storm. Kopu is being called the second most powerful storm to hit the island nation this year. With Kopu history, attention's turned to Hurricane Patricia and its landfall on the Mexican west coast. We'll have that report next week. Arthur Collins, W0CXX, the founder of Collins Radio Company, was known as an amateur radio wizard. He was the creator of innovative equipment and radios that would eventually make history, including the radio that landed on the moon with Neil Armstrong and carried the astronaut's voice back to Earth. Collins' legacy is being celebrated in a just-released documentary. Amateur Radio Newsline's Mike Askins, KE5CXP, talked to one of the film's creators.
The Arthur Collins Legacy, A Culture of Innovation, is a 24-minute documentary that includes interviews with the people who knew Art Collins best. Collins has been called the most underrated technical innovator of the 20th century. We spoke with Bob Hobday, N2EVG, about his involvement as executive producer, about the documentary, and what the filmmakers were trying to achieve.
What we did in the documentary was capture how Art Collins was able to infuse his dedication to quality and his dedication to advancement of technology in Collins Radio. And we've done it by interviewing those people that worked for him and how we allow them the freedom and encourage them to make the advances that came out of Collins Radio.
And Bob, now that the movie has debuted, can we get a copy on DVD?
They are available by writing to the Antique Wireless Association, P.O. Box 421, Bloomfield, New York, 14469, and they will be for sale for $15.
If you would like more information, you can visit Collins Radio Heritage Group's website, collinsradioheritagegroup.org.
Hams who ordinarily might be more preoccupied with the solar cycle kept their eyes fixed earlier this month on more terrestrial cycles, in this case more than 1,000 two-wheelers, during the 41st annual Mount Dora Bicycle Festival in Florida's Lake Country.
Following the riders is a 25-year tradition for the Florida Hams, who provide critical communication to keep cyclists safe during the Mount Dora Bicycle Festival. Cyclists follow 12 separate routes of varying lengths, but all have the same purpose, to raise money for the local food pantry. While the cyclists followed their routes this year, once again the Lake Amateur Radio Association and Lake County, Florida Aries followed the cyclists. With 1,325 cyclists from around the country riding this year, the Hams were kept busy. The longest route was 100 miles. The shortest, just 12. Many featured Lake County's trademark challenging hills. Even early morning fog and Florida humidity did not get in the way of the riders, nor did anything get in the way of the Hams, who kept close watch at rest stops and in radio-equipped motor vehicles. The vehicles transported cyclists whose bicycles had broken down, and in one case, a rider who suffered a broken collarbone. Plans are already in the works for the 2016 Mount Dora Bicycle Festival, which will run from October 7th through October 9th. Yes, the Hams will be ready too. I'm Heather MB, KB3TZD in Berwick, Pennsylvania.
And finally this week, another means of emergency communications just went online in Southern California. Hams in the Laguna Woods, California area now have a wireless network to use for data transmissions in extreme emergencies. 3 new antennas just went up in the region, creating the Amateur Radio Emergency Data Network, also known as Hamnet. Dave Southworth, KS6RFI, secretary of the Laguna Woods Club, describes it as, quote, very similar to the internet in that you can send email and everything else, but you can't go out and send it to mom and pop in Wisconsin. It's a mesh network with each antenna performing the same role a router might perform for the internet, and it provides speeds for data transmission that outpaces even the voice of a radio amateur. Yes, it's that fast, and it should be. It's the area's safety net for communications. Southworth adds, quote, it's an alternate communications path. If there were a big earthquake where the earth shifted and cut internet cables, then we would use our radios and Hamnet capabilities to communicate between other Hamnet meshes. It could even transmit pictures of areas needing emergency services, giving first responders an idea of what's needed. And it's one of many such projects throughout California's Orange County. With this Hamnet, the region's safety net has just widened a little bit more. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for over 37 years and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Mike Haskins, KE5CXP, Heather Emby, KB3TZD, and Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW 73, and we'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.